After the baby shower, I opened my app. $35,000 vanished overnight. My cousin smiled. It's just a little gift from you to me. I grabbed my bag and said, perfect. Now watch what happens next. She turned pale as the door swung open. I, 31F, never imagined my own family would steal from me, especially not during what should have been one of the happiest times of my life. So here's the deal. I've been saving for years to start my own small business. Worked 2 jobs sometimes, skipped vacations, lived with roommates longer than I wanted to, the whole financial discipline package. The plan was to open a specialty bakery focusing on allergen-free treats. Why? My niece has severe allergies and finding safe birthday cakes for her has been a nightmare. I saw a need and wanted to fill it. Last weekend my sister threw me a baby shower. I'm 7 months pregnant with my first child, a little girl. My husband, Dan, couldn't make it because he was stuck at a work conference, so it was just us girls. The shower was at my sister Mia's house, nothing fancy but really nice. My family was there, including my cousin Vanessa, 34F. Vanessa and I were close growing up, but she's always been complicated. The kind of person who thinks the world owes her something. During the shower, I noticed Vanessa kept disappearing to take important calls but thought nothing of it. She works in real estate, so random calls aren't unusual. She even offered to help me open gifts, being extra attentive. Again, didn't think much of it. The next morning I woke up to check my accounts like I do every Sunday. Budgeting habit from my broke college days I never broke. That's when I saw it. My savings account was nearly empty. $35,000 gone. Just fucking gone. I immediately called the bank, hands shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. They confirmed multiple transfers had been made yesterday to an account I didn't recognize. During my baby shower, while my phone was sitting in my purse in my sister's guest bedroom, where Vanessa kept taking calls, I called the police, filed a report, then called my sister in hysterics. She came over immediately and we started working through what happened. The police said they'd send an officer over to take a formal statement. While waiting, I called Dan, who was driving back from his conference. He was furious and said he'd be home in a few hours. While Mia and I were gathering evidence from my bank's app, Vanessa texted asking if I'd received her surprise. She actually came over an hour later with coffee for everyone, like nothing was wrong. When she walked in, her exact words were, "So, did you see what I did?" With this weird, proud smile. I stared at her. You mean the $35,000 you stole from my account? Her face didn't even drop. She laughed. Come on, it's not stealing when it's family. You've been saving forever and have plenty. I need it more right now. My condo needs renovations and you know commission hasn't been great lately. Plus, you're having a baby. Everyone knows babies don't care about fancy bakeries. My sister gasped. The police officer who had arrived about 20 minutes earlier just raised his eyebrows. It's just a little gift from you to me, Vanessa continued, sipping her latte. You've always been the responsible one. The successful one. Now you can help me out for once. That's what family does. I felt this weird calm wash over me. I grabbed my bag and stood up. Perfect, I said. Now watch what happens next. She turned pale as the door swung open and the second police officer walked in, the one who'd been sitting in his car. They hadn't wired me up or anything dramatic like that, they just heard everything she said. Turns out, stealing $35,000 is grand theft. And admitting to it while a cop is in the room? Not bright. They arrested her on the spot. Her face as they read her rights? Worth capturing. So I did. Took photos, because documentation matters. As they let her out, she screamed that I was overreacting, that family helps family, and that I was dead to her. Her mom, my aunt, called me an hour later, screaming that I had ruined Vanessa's life over a little misunderstanding about money. Said I should have just worked out a repayment plan, because that's what real family does. Nope. Real family doesn't steal your savings while you're opening baby shower gifts. the bank has opened a fraud investigation. I've hired a lawyer, the charges are pending, and I've blocked about half my family who apparently think I'm the bad guy here. Dan got home that evening and has been incredibly supportive. The baby's nursery is half painted in the room we were planning to use as my home office until I could lease the bakery space. I just sit there sometimes, wondering how people convince themselves theft is okay if they need the money more than you do. I'll update when there's more to share. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out how to get my money back and keep my business dream alive, all while growing a human. Update. 2 weeks later, hi. First, thank you for all the support on my original post. Didn't expect that kind of response. A lot has happened in 2 weeks. The good, the bank has managed to recover about $29,000 so far. The bad, Vanessa already spent the rest. On what, you ask? A non-refundable deposit on a luxury vacation package to some island resort, new designer bags, and, get this, she paid her boyfriend's gambling debts. All in less than 24 hours after stealing it. She must have been planning this for weeks. The day after her arrest, she was released on bail, which my aunt paid. Then, things got weird. Like, restraining order weird. Vanessa showed up at my house at 2 a.m., banging on the door and screaming that I was a selfish bitch who never learned to share. Dan recorded the whole thing while we waited for the cops. She kept yelling about how I didn't even need that money, and that I was being dramatic because I'm pregnant. When Dan told her to leave, she tried to force her way in. The officers arrested her for violating the no-contact order that was part of her bail conditions. She spent another night in jail before my aunt bailed her out. Again. Then came the smear campaign. Vanessa started telling everyone I had promised her the money as payment for some fictitious work she claimed to have done for my future business, created a whole story about how we had a verbal contract and I was backing out. Some relatives actually believed her. The worst part? She made a fake GoFundMe claiming she was a victim of financial abuse from a jealous family member. Used my actual first name in it. My lawyer had it taken down, but not before some distant relatives and her friends donated almost $3,000 to it. Court date is set for next month, but yesterday I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Vanessa's boyfriend, Jake. He sent screenshots of text messages where Vanessa was planning the whole thing weeks ago. Apparently they broke up after he found out she used the stolen money to pay his bookie without telling him. He said he didn't sign up to date a thief and thought I should have the evidence. I forwarded everything to my lawyer and the detective handling the case. Then I blocked Jake's number too, because this entire situation is toxic enough already. My aunt is now telling family members that I'm trying to destroy Vanessa's reputation and future over a loan that got misunderstood. A loan. That's what she's calling theft now. On a more positive note, thanks to the recovered funds and an unexpected small inheritance from my late grandfather that just came through. Weird timing, but I'll take it. I've met with a real estate agent about potential spaces for my bakery. Haven't signed a lease yet, but I'm looking at options. Probably will start with a small commercial kitchen for custom orders rather than a full storefront right away. Dan suggested we could call the bakery Sweet Justice as a joke, but I still prefer my original idea, Safe Bites, focused on the allergen-free mission. Either way, the business plan is moving forward. This mess is far from over, but at least I'm making progress. We'll update after the court date, which should be about a month from now. By then I'll be 8+ months pregnant, so that should be fun. Update. After the court date, it's been almost 2 months since my last update, and honestly, I've been putting off writing this because processing everything has been a lot. The court date came and went. Vanessa actually showed up with a lawyer, plead not guilty, and tried to push some bullshit story about how she had verbal permission to borrow the money. Her lawyer attempted to paint it as a civil matter rather than criminal, but the evidence was overwhelming. The recordings of her admitting she took it because she needed it more. Bank records showing she transferred the money using my unlocked phone. Her boyfriend's texts showing she transferred the money using my unlocked phone. Her boyfriend's texts showing premeditation. The GoFundMe scam attempt. Her violation of the no-contact order. the judge wasn't having any of it. Vanessa eventually accepted a plea deal, guilty to a lesser charge, avoiding maximum jail time but still getting a felony on her record. She got 90 days in county jail, serving weekends only so she can keep her job, 5 years probation, full restitution ordered, $35,000, 250 hours community service. When the sentence was read, my aunt actually stood up in court and started screaming about how I was destroying the family and that blood should forgive blood. The judge threatened her with contempt if she didn't sit down and be quiet. After court, my uncle, Vanessa's dad, approached me in the hallway. First time he's spoken to me since this all happened. I thought maybe he was finally going to acknowledge what Vanessa did was wrong. Nope. He handed me a payment plan that would let Vanessa pay back just $150 a month over 20 years with no interest. He actually said, "This is more than fair, and if you don't accept it, you're proving this was never about the money." I handed it back and walked away. The court already ordered full restitution and I'm not negotiating down from what a judge decided. Now for the fallout. Half my extended family isn't speaking to me. They've decided that pressing charges was too harsh and I should have handled it privately. My aunt has uninvited me from all family gatherings. She told my mom that I'm not welcome in her home until I forgive Vanessa and ask the court to drop the restitution requirement. I didn't respond to any of it. Instead, I focused on preparing for the baby. My due date was just a week after the court date, but little Olivia decided to stay put for an extra 2 weeks. She was born healthy and perfect at 9 pounds 4 at. During these last few weeks of pregnancy, I managed to secure a small business loan to replace what hasn't been recovered yet, about $6 still outstanding. I signed a lease on a small commercial kitchen space, nothing fancy, just enough to start taking custom orders once I'm ready to work again after maternity leave. Vanessa started her weekend jail time and apparently hates it. My sister heard from our cousin that Vanessa spends all week complaining about how inhumane it is and how I essentially put her in prison for borrowing money. She still doesn't get it. The most vindicating moment came last week. I was at the grocery store with the baby when I ran into Vanessa's former boss. Turns out her real estate firm let her go after the conviction. They can't have felons handling client funds. He actually apologized to me for what happened, saying he had no idea she was that kind of person. I don't feel the satisfaction I thought I would. Mostly I'm just sad that someone I grew up with, someone I trusted, could betray me like this and still not understand why it was wrong. But I'm moving forward. Dan has been amazing through all of this. Olivia is thriving and I'm recovering well. I've started sketching out recipes and testing small batches at home while on maternity leave. The business will launch more slowly than I originally planned, but it's still happening. Some days I wonder if I made the right choice pursuing charges. Then I look at my daughter and remember. I'm teaching her that nobody gets to take what's yours, not even family, especially not family. As for Vanessa, I heard she's living with my aunt now, sleeping in her childhood bedroom at 34. Her boyfriend left, her job's gone and her reputation is shot. She made her choices, now she's living with them. I'm living with mine too, and despite everything I sleep just fine at night. Final update, 1 year later. It's been a year since all this went down, and since so many people have asked for an update, here it is. First, the business. Safe Bites Bakery is officially taking off. We started with me working part-time from the commercial kitchen space while Olivia was napping, and now I've hired 2 part-time assistants to keep up with demand. We're still focusing on allergen-free custom orders, and the word of mouth has been incredible. My niece's birthday cake photos went viral in a local parents group, and we've been booked solid ever since. Mia sometimes jokes we should have gone with Sweet Justice after all, but the business name reflects what matters most to me, creating safe treats for people with allergies. Now for the Vanessa situation. She completed her weekend jail time with constant complaints about how traumatizing it was. She's paid back exactly $1,873.42 of the restitution so far, and every payment has been late. Each time, the probation officer has to threaten her with violating probation before she miraculously finds the money. Here's where it gets interesting. 3 months ago, I got a letter from her lawyer offering a settlement. Vanessa would pay $10,000 immediately if I agreed to drop the remaining restitution requirements. The letter implied this was more than generous since most of the money would have gone to a business that might have failed anyway. I didn't even respond. My lawyer sent a one-line reply. The court-ordered restitution remains in effect. A week later, my aunt called, hysterical. Turns out, Vanessa had told her parents she'd fixed everything with me and that I had agreed to drop the remaining restitution. Based on this lie, they had given her $10,000 from their retirement savings to make the payment. When they found out I never agreed to any settlement, they were devastated. My uncle actually called me himself, which was a first. He apologized. Not for supporting Vanessa all this time, but for the misunderstanding. He asked if I would reconsider accepting the $10,000 as full payment since they had cleaned out a significant portion of their savings to help Vanessa. I almost felt bad for them until he added, after all, your business is doing well now, so you don't really need the rest of the money. I told him the truth. It was never about the money. It was about consequences. Vanessa needs to fulfill the court's requirements. Period. I did find out later that Vanessa actually did use the $10,000 from her parents to make a restitution payment, which brings her total paid to about $11,873.42. Still far short of the full amount, but at least her parents' money went where it was supposed to. Family gatherings are still awkward. My aunt still thinks I'm the villain in this story. At a recent family wedding, which Vanessa didn't attend because she claims she can't be in the same room as me, my aunt cornered me by the bathroom to inform me that Vanessa lost another job opportunity because of her record, and asked if that made me happy. It doesn't. None of this makes me happy. But I don't regret standing my ground. The most surprising development, Vanessa's ex-boyfriend Jake contacted me again. He's engaged to someone new and wanted to apologize for his small role in everything. He mentioned that Vanessa had tried to reconcile with him recently, claiming she was nearly done paying me back, and would soon be free of all this unfair punishment. When he asked for details, she blocked him. Some family members have started coming around. My cousin Tyler, Vanessa's brother, stopped by the bakery last month with his kids. He awkwardly mentioned that he should have supported me from the beginning, but he felt caught in the middle. It was the closest thing to an apology I'm likely to get, so I accepted it. His daughter loved our nut-free cupcakes, so that's something. Vanessa herself? I've only seen her once since the trial at the grocery store. She turned and walked the other way. According to my sister, who still occasionally hears family gossip, Vanessa tells people she was falsely accused and that I twisted everything to seem worse than it was. Some people believe her, most don't. Olivia had just turned 1 last week. We had a small party with the people who actually stood by us through all this, a much smaller circle than I had before, but a much more loyal one. My mom made a toast about integrity and staying strong through difficult times. I cried a little. I've learned a lot this year about who people really are when tested. About how entitlement can run so deep that someone can steal from you and genuinely believe they have the right to do it. About how families can enable the worst behavior if it means not disrupting their idea of harmony. Most importantly, I've learned that sometimes the right path is also the hardest one. Would I do it all again? In a heartbeat. Every time I look at my daughter or walk into my bakery, I know I did the right thing. Not just for me, but for her. So she grows up knowing that her boundaries matter, that her work has value, and that nobody gets to take what's hers without consequences. Even family. Especially family.